so I just I want to understand what kind of a challenge do you foresee for the government in trying to get that MOU passed with any consent from any Indigenous
group
out west?
Again, they got to sit down and start working now. If everyone thought Thursday was difficult, that was probably the easiest day in the life of that pipeline.
The Conservatives are calling
In the past, you said you weren't sure there's a decline of French. Can you clarify your thinking? Do you think there's a decline of French in Quebec, and how do you qualify that decline? Look, what I said, Hélène, is that French is fragile everywhere in North America. There is a decline in Quebec. It's always threatened. What I deplore in this discussion is the politicalization of this issue. I raised my kids in French. I take it to heart. I absolutely want Quebec to be French. That being said, it's a very complex issue. When we say that French is in decline, sometimes we forget everything that was accomplished with the Law 101 and the Quebec-Canada agreements with immigration. So there's a lot of complexities. What do you mean by making it political? Well, I think it's done for identity reasons. And as a Quebecer, I'm tired of that idea that isn't language part of the identity? It is, of course, but it also is a reflection of a society that lives together, and the important is to have a language that I love, and I want to ensure that the federal is there to help, and they have jurisdiction on Quebec, but also outside of Quebec, because French is not only spoken in French.
What do you make of the reports that your government is making an agreement with the Bloc to remove religious exemptions from the hate speech laws to pass Bill C-9? You're the chair of the Justice Committee.
Right.
Is that happening?
Well, I had the question myself. Look, I'm a person of faith. I'm Christian. I have very, very deep beliefs. The reality is I don't think people should be using the Bible, the Quran, or the Torah to escape from committing a hate crime or claim that what would otherwise be a hate crime is done in the name of a religious text. You can look at the religious texts yourself and see what they mean, but the reality is that there is an exception in the criminal code that are making people hesitate. And when the conservatives come out and pretend that they are defending freedom of expression, they are defending people like Adel Shakari.
Conservatives have spoken a lot about hate against Jewish. What is the inaudible? And I said it in English, but I cannot defend that. Defending hate speech from Adel Shakawi, I think it's unacceptable. I don't think you should use the Bible and Torah to defend committing a hate crime. That is my perspective, but we'll see what. Do you think the Liberals are open to that change?
Like removing this religious exemption from the criminal code?
Not entirely sure. I think it's been discussed for years. Certainly the Bloc Québécois showed some leadership in that area. I think it's intellectually contradictory. I think if you are a person of faith, it is contradictory to suggest that you can commit a hate crime in the name of a religious text, whether it's the Quran, the Torah.
But Christian Muslim stakeholders are already saying this would be an attack on freedom of religion. So I mean, how could the government be on side with this, hearing some of the concerns already voiced from stakeholders?
I would respectfully disagree, and I think if you talk to people of faith and even religious leaders, they would see that this is really something that makes sense, and that nobody actually should be committing.
Well,
let me finish my thought, but nobody should be committing a hate crime in the name of religion.
Sachant tous les reculs, vous dites le français est en recul à 7
Une chance que tu grelottes moins qu'hier, là, parce que je te voyais
Ah oui, je grelottais, il faisait frais.
All right, so we